Alright, so last video we created the efficient frontier. Here it is, my recommended allocation versus where my customer or my client started. You can see I'm increasing their return at the same level of risk. Now all I have to do is make sure I've got a Word document open, and I can just click on this graph, right click and copy it, then go over to Word and click the paste button, paste special, and I like to use bitmap. You bring that over and you can resize it. If you want it in Excel, you could add a title to it. You can clean it up, get it in Excel looking exactly like you want it. Remember how we cut the axis off so that it fill up the space. We lined up the words so it pointed. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes I see students make is they forget to change these arrows. So the arrows are just pointed off in the middle of nowhere. So just paste that over. You can do the same thing with these allocation pie charts. I can bring the current allocation over. Paste special, bitmap. You can do the same thing with your recommended allocation and resize them however you want to. So it's very easy to get the graphs in using the copy function. And you notice on the copy function even brings in your text boxes. So pretty easy to do. So now what we want to do is look at this tab called historical VaR. It's an actually fairly simple analysis to do. The first line is our current portfolio. Notice it's referencing EF output line D5. If you set up EF output correctly the way I did it, then D5 line 5 is your current, what your client currently has. Remember that's 60%, 40%. And then this next one, EF output D15, make sure row 15 is where your recommended allocation is. For me it was. Remember I highlighted it in green. That is mine. Make sure that's yours. If not, then change this row to be the correct one. And then I want to have a risk tolerance. Remember, most people risk tolerance of 1% is correct, but you could do 5%. At 5%, remember that's a 1.64 standard deviation event, or 1 or 2. Remember the normal distribution table, the normal table that we did in class. If you have a 1% risk tolerance, then you try to find the closest thing to 0.99, that is 100% minus 1%, that's 99%. The closest table value to 0.99 is 2.33 standard deviations, so I just key that in. So make sure lines 4 and 5 are consistent. And then what we do here is we're using annual data here, and it shows you, if you look back from 1988 to 2014, your current portfolio actually had a slightly higher return than your recommended portfolio. Using our assumptions, you can see our assumptions think that our portfolio going forward is going to have a higher return than the current portfolio. Very few financial planners will actually show this because obviously it's a little bit embarrassing to say that our assumptions assume something very different than the past. The good thing about this is the historical VaR. What has happened 1% of the time? 1% of the time your current portfolio would have lost 17.5%, but our recommended portfolio would have only lost 3.8%. So that's good. And using our assumptions, again, just like we showed, we're reducing the risk slightly. So you just need to write about this just so you can show that you get different answers whether you use pure history or use your assumptions. And again, most financial planners would never show this in a paper because it's too hard to explain. I want you dealing with it because this is an issue we have to address in finance. And what you'll notice is the historical returns are much higher than our expected returns with interest rates so low. Most people are expecting returns to be much lower in the future, also with inflation being so low. You also notice, maybe a little bit disconcerting, is that historical VaR for your current portfolio is much higher than our assumptions. Fortunately for us, our recommended portfolio historical risk is very much in line with our assumptions, so that may give your clients some comfort. But that's what I'm looking for here, is calculate the numbers and just be able to discuss them. And really the key in this part of the paper is being able to distinguish between what historical VaR is telling you and what parametric VaR is telling you, and a lot of the notes in class will help you with that.